Right. Assalamu alaikum again and welcome everybody. I'm thrilled to see so many people have joined and are still joining. Um, I've tried my best to make this presentation or webinar interesting and fun as a learning experience, as also getting to know each other, getting to know me. Thank you for joining, and we will start our presentation now. So this is to introduce you to what exactly is microfinance about, and community finance, which I will explain later on. And also, what is Islamic microfinance and why is it needed in today's world, and especially the current scenario. So let's start. As I said, it's all about getting to know each other. I'm sure you are a little bit familiar with me being on LinkedIn and here and there. Thank you to Fahad and Hassan. But a little bit more about me. So I wrote this book in 2018, as you can see. And if you join my course, then I can explain more what integral finance is about and why did I call it integral finance. So I've been working very closely with Ahwat Foundation for the past 4 years. I'm sure you would be familiar with Ahwat Foundation in Pakistan. They are world's largest Karte Hassan organization in the world. And those of you who do not know what Karte Hassan is benevolent loan, literal translation. It's interest-free loans as well. And the basic concept behind Ahwat is coming from Muakhat Medina. So I got so inspired that I had to write a book, which I have co-authored with Dr. Muhammad Amjad Saqib, the founder of Ahwat Foundation. And I've been working very closely with Transform Community Associates. I co-edited this book as well, which is integral to Islamic finance and semiotic approach. So this is a little bit about me, but I'm sure we'll get to know each other more as we communicate. And I want to make this webinar a little bit interactive, more interactive than usually webinars are, because I feel like they get too boring and they drag. So I'm going to make it a little more interesting. But before we do that, I'll quickly explain to you. I'm sure you've seen the logo of ISRA, as Essen very kindly also introduced me. So what is ISRA about? After I finished my PhD, I embarked on another journey. I founded this research academy, which basically would work on a 4 E's process, because as you are familiar, Islamic finance is becoming a huge industry, and there is a need as well. But I bring in the spiritual aspect into economics and finance. And this is why I call it solidarity, as in solidarity with a soul. And the concepts basically came from the Islamic tradition, and also I come from an Asian background. It came from Iqbal's philosophy of ishq, ilm, and amal. And I got so inspired as I was writing the book, and I realized that we need to firstly understand these concepts before we venture into the jargons and the technical terms that Islamic finance is ridden with. ISRA would work on these 4 E's, but enough of ISRA. I'm sure once you become part of our community. And let me tell you, this webinar or this course is about that we become a community. So we develop a community together and on TAIF's platform. So a little bit about TAIF. I'm sure you are very familiar with TAIF. They're doing a brilliant job. And when Fahad approached me and he offered me this platform to develop a course for them, although I must tell you, I'm not into course developing. I feel like we have to engage on project space because I'm an action learning training and research facilitator. And I believe that we all learn through doing things, not just having a course. And this is what my main focus in this course would be. How do we also learn going along the journey of learning through intellectually as well? So TAIF have done a really brilliant job, and what they are trying to, I'm sure because Fahad has a background in Islamic finance, he knew the problem that Islamic finance industry is facing. And it's not just about the problem, I think, because as we are growing bigger, our populations are growing, there is more need for skilled human resources who can drive the industry, who can take the lead, people like yourselves as well. So, okay, now let's do something interesting and let's get to know you as well. Asim, can you start the poll, please? So it would actually give us a good overview of who are our audience today, what is your interest in this particular topic? Because according to a TAIF, microfinance is one word, or this webinar that I actually conducted another webinar previously, and it was quite popular as well. So I think there is nowadays a need for microfinance. So yeah, let's see how we get along. Asim?
Yeah, we are going to give them 1 more minute to vote. 46% of the people have voted.
No, that's
have
fine.
437 people registered for this webinar.
Right.
And
Great.
now
Shows the
I can
interest.
see the number is still increasing. So we encourage everybody to vote just 1 more minute, and then this poll will end. We'll share the results, inshallah, in the end.
Of course. And I'm sure people who couldn't attend today would be in touch in any case.
So at the moment, 60% people have voted, and Doctor, I can see that.
Can I see the results?
Sure. I will share the results with you.
Thank you.
To what's the end of the webinar? 64 people. Okay. 66% have voted. I'm going to end this polling. All right. And then share the results. So I'm going to share the results with you. Here are the results.
Right. Mostly from finance sector. Finance seems to be just ruling over our world. Okay, great. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you.
Okay, let's continue. Yes. So yeah, this is me here. Right. So I'm going to now, let's embark on our journey for today's webinar and what are the courses about. So as you can see, we have, whilst I was designing the course, I just realized that most people are familiar with Islamic microfinance. It's a term which is quite often used, and I'm sure most of you are familiar. But I wanted to really dig deep into what microfinance covers before we go into venture into Islamic side of it, because of course it gets too complicated. And I think getting the concepts right, as per my own understanding, and as a researcher, I believe if the foundation is laid properly, then we can grasp the concepts. And let's then show you why I'm talking about the, okay, so we're running through, quickly I'll run you through. Oh, okay, this is the beginner, sorry. So this is the syllabus. So you'll start as a beginner, and these are the topics I would be covering in the first module, which is the history of microfinance. Quite often, it's understood that microfinance, the term microfinance, was coined by Dr. Muhammad Yunus from Bangladesh. Yes, he actually gave the world. He actually innovated microfinance. But there is a history of microfinance which came from Europe and especially Ireland. And I'm so happy that my Irish mystic friend he's attending this webinar as well. Thank you, Paul. So I would be expanding on all these topics, as in the brief history of what is microcredit and microfinance principles. And as you can see, how microfinance work, I'll share with you case studies of some big organizations or the concepts that started. So module 2 will then bring you to history of Islamic microfinance. And we will delve deeper into the Islamic principles of finance and then microfinance, because Islamic microfinance is relatively a new term, and as you know, that Islamic finance is also an up and coming industry, and many products have been developed, which are here, and I will expand on these concepts more than just the products. Why were these products developed? Especially a fourth foundation in Pakistan is a prime example that I would like you to know more about. From here, so I have actually developed a module on community finance as well, because I feel community finance is another name for microfinance. So I will actually share with you more on this. Let's now see why beginners though. Why do I say that there should be a beginner's course? I mean, most of you, as I've seen in the poll, are familiar with the Islamic finance concepts. But how microfinance and Islamic microfinance concepts go together, this is why a beginner's course is developed for you. So let's see your understanding of microfinance. Essen, can we take the second poll now, please?
All right, the poll is on. I would request everybody to
Thank
start
you.
polling.
Let's see what the results come. And that would be interesting to know and see what is people's understanding of microfinance, because there are many misconceptions around microfinance as well.
We'll continue this poll for a minute and two. 50% have people voted so far, still going on. Thank you very much, everybody, for actively participating in this webinar. The idea of Dr. Anika is to get to know you more and guide you along the line.
Yes, because although the course has been developed, because I work with transformation and emergence, it would be interesting to see if I can then maybe um, put something else, add something else in the course.
30 more seconds, and then I'm going to end the
That's
poll.
fine.
79% of the people have voted.
Great. I'm glad everybody's actively participating.
Yeah, I think, Doctor, people really need to learn Islamic finance, microfinance. I will be your student as well because I need to learn it because a lot of people have misconception about Islamic finance and the way the products work there. So it's very important as a rare opportunity for everyone to learn from you.
Thank you. As I believe in two-way learning, I think we learn from each other every day. Are we done, Esther?
So here are the results, Doctor.
Great. Is microfinance a special solution for poor people in poor countries? Our microfinance, great. I'm glad 70 people actually know about this.
Wow.
Yeah, that's really helpful. Thank you, everybody, for taking this poll. So we move on. Did we have another question in this poll, Essen? Hello, Essen?
There are three questions, Doctor, on this poll.
Oh, okay, we have taken them.
Yeah, three
Okay,
questions.
so I think this is a misconception, as I've understood after studying microfinance and Islamic concept of microfinance as well, that microfinance is just a solution for poor people and poor countries. Yes, it came as a concept for poor countries because it was very viable for them, but it's not a solution for only poor countries. And we will see the conclusion here. I'm sure I can expand on this, not in today's webinar, but this is what you would learn in our course, that microfinance has many other dimensions and there is only you can't just pin it down to one solution as well. I think also I would urge each one of you to think creatively. I think this is the challenge of our time, that how in this contemporary world, we have to now rethink all the concepts and how we can adapt those concepts in the new situations that keep arising. So microfinance could be a solution for any community, any country, in a rural area, in an urban area. And there are many different ways of utilizing this very powerful and effective tool. And yes, it is also understood that it is for poverty alleviation, but basically, the purpose behind was how communities could develop. So it's on community develop. The focus should be more on community development and not to just slot it into poverty alleviation, because the course will also familiarize you with this misconception that microfinance can eradicate poverty. I think we, the people, only can eradicate poverty, which is a curse on this planet, and it is um, imposed by men and women. It's imposed by human beings. Okay, so that was that. And as you have 70% of you have rightly said, and I'm glad that this concept is very clear, that microcredit and microfinance are separate but related concepts. The history of microfinance in Africa dates back to, oh, sorry, there is some grammatical mistake, but yes, before Muhammad Yunus started it in Bangladesh, small groups, small communities, indigenous communities have always been using this tool. So microcredit, as you rightly understand, is about giving a small loan to someone, the poorest of poor. Okay, so let's move along. Okay, so now we come to Islamic microfinance. Okay, the poll has started. Thank you, Hassan. This is a short one. Did we have just one question in this one?
Yes, we have one question. The following one will have two
Okay.
polls together.
Sure. Thank you.
Doctor, just for your information, we have now over 120 people joined the webinar. Plus,
I,
we have many more on Facebook. They are all hearing and they are
great.
benefiting from the knowledge.
And I see the chat is quite active. Are you reading all the messages, Bob?
I'm trying my level best to keep up, but yeah, I'm responding to this.
Oh
Yeah.
gosh. But I'm really, really happy and glad that people are interacting, and they are very actively participating, which is what the intention was.
Yes, I think if we send the right message of setting up community financing, which is Sharia compliant and Islamically
Mm,
acceptable, this will not only solve community level issues, this will also contribute, creating jobs, fixing economies. So I think a lot of issues will be addressed by just understanding what community financing is and how to implement it properly. And Akhwat
that's
being the
it.
successful model, I think they should know there should be no hesitation saying that we have a successful model now. Tell us how to do it, and then you inshallah guide everyone, and then they do it, and uh, it really impacts the grassroots level.
Yes, and that is the idea. Very rightly said. Thank you. All done? Hmm, interesting. Very nice. So 70% people understand Islamic finance concepts, and this is very good. I'm actually happy that only 17% have said it is Sharia compliant, and 0% have said because we are Muslim. Very nice. That's good. Thank you so much, everybody, for taking this poll, which is very interesting. And I'm happy we are all on the same page that Islamic microfinance is an alternative for not just poverty alleviation, as I keep on saying, but I will expand on this further on. Let's move on. Okay, I think my screen is now stuck. Sorry, one second. Oh, okay, all working now. Right. So is Islamic finance an alternative? I quote Professor Charles Tripp here, who's written a wonderful book on Islam and the moral economy, the challenges of capitalism. And in there, I'm just quoting this one particular paragraph from there, which says, Professor, before I move on, Professor Tripp has written, he's a professor of historian as well, and particularly in the Middle Eastern region and the political Islamic thought. He's written a lot about that. So he's written that it was common practice overall then to present Islam as a third way, which strikes a perfect balance between the claims of the individual and the community, moderating the extremes of capitalism and communism, respectively. It was then for Islam to remind people of the spiritual aspect of existence, filling the void left by these two materialistic philosophies. So now you can understand why I chose this particular verse, this paragraph, because it kind of accentuates, and it says it very beautifully, that there is a void left for the spiritual aspect of finance and economics. And Islamic microfinance fills that gap beautifully if we can understand how to do that. So in conclusion, the poll you've just taken, the underlying principle of Islamic microfinance is the application of Islamic values. So it's not about why I'm saying all this, and the course also prepares you, the beginner level, to understand the values first and not to get trapped into just jargons and technical terms. If we can discern and transcend the values, then I think our job would be very, very easier, because Islam accentuates on societal well-being, welfare, and not just for Muslims. Of course, you know this very well. It's for the human race. So yes, how Islamic finance is bringing this. I wouldn't say alternative. It's complementing, or it's filling the void. What is missing? So basically, the moral and value aspect, which emphasizes how we can develop communities fairly and justly, and how there could be the social injustices that prevail in our world could be tackled by understanding the values first, and not to just slot it into poverty alleviation only. That this is the poor person, I have a moral duty to help just the poor. It's basically about how we can bring about a new, not a new, an economic order which is just to everybody. And as much as I've understood and I've studied Islamic finance, and it's particularly microfinance, this is what I've understood. And it's a very nice book with concisely recording very nice, models from around the world. And I personally know Professor Malcolm Harper and Dr. Ijaz Ahmed Khan. And in their book, they've written that apart from Qard Hasan or interest-free loans, which are proposed as an effective way to assist the poorest or most vulnerable, it is worth emphasizing that Islam does not prescribe specific forms of financing. Rather, it sets out some broad principles that accommodate various forms and procedures. So I think the focus is here that new forms of financing are actually needed. And this is why I think this course can help you and many others to understand that you are free to innovate. And I think that would be my challenge to you as well if you take up this course and we work together from the beginner to the practitioner, how we can develop new models that can help our communities, our society in tackling the problems, the most pressing issues of current day, economic issues, and as well as social issues as well. So let's move along. Right, so the fourth goal, why community finance? Can you start? Thank you. Hmm.
So, Doctor, while we are waiting for the poll, there are a lot of questions piled up for you.
All right.
I think it's going to take another 48 hours at least for you to answer those questions, to be very honest. But inshallah, we will at the end of the webinar, because doctor is she's very much, she's very keen to know everyone who has joined, but naturally, humanly, it's not possible. But down the way, when you guys are enrolled into the course, there will be a lot of opportunity. I think at least minimum 50 hours. You guys will be spending time to interact with doctor and learn. But yeah, we'll try to answer as much as we can. The remaining questions will be sent to doctor, and they will be
Yes.
available on LinkedIn, and then you can write your comments there and you can interact, inshallah.
Yeah. Especially, I think during the course, I can cover these aspects. And this was the reason that, we decided to take these polls.
All right, 30 more
And I would
seconds.
urge,
I'm sorry.
sorry,
I'm just saying 30 more seconds and then inshallah I'll show
no,
the
that's
results.
fine. Thank you. I would urge everybody to find the answers themselves as well. Firstly, I think because what I want to do through these courses and developing our community together on TAIF as well is to develop this habit of researching ourselves and then coming together and having a dialogue around, because as you know, there is no one right answer for any question. Every question has a context, so it has to be seen through that context. So it would be interesting if we can all explore together, have a dialogue, and see how that can there could be many new questions. Sorry, answers. Microfinance promotes self-reliance. Wonderful, 93%. I'm actually glad all the people who are attending they are so familiar, all the above. Okay, microfinance is for, oh, okay, it just went. Yeah, right, so this is my favorite topic. And this is my expertise as well. My expertise lies in community activation and mobilization. So I'm, as you would have gathered, I don't call myself an Islamic finance or microfinance expert, but I actually bring all these strands together and I then develop, because what is the idea behind having using microfinance as a tool is to for community benefit. So I think there is no reference here, but this is by Stephen Goodman. He's an anthropologist, and he's written in his book that there is no true model of economy or indeed community, but only multiple meaningful formulations within particular cultures. And I think the focus is here, and why we've added community finance in our course. Community finance serves that purpose, that we need to understand that every culture, every community, they have their own models, they have their own context. So no one monolithic faith-based ruling would work for every community. By taking this course or working alongside me, together we can explore all this, that the community actually holds the reservoir of possibilities. Okay, so what I would like to for you to also contemplate and think about is this particular here. So the possibilities. I am, as I've worked on many community projects, and I've understood that usually we get so stuck with finances. Yes, finance is very important. Capital rules. But the community holds many potentials. So you have the spiritual capital in a community. Sorry, I can't write like this, but anyways, so you have the spiritual capital, you have the human capital here. The community itself holds a lot of human capital. Then the faith-based, our morals and beliefs come in, which help us. Then you have the knowledge and intellectual capital in a community. And then here, if we can pull all these together, and what comes about is, yes, we all need finance and capital, but community itself has a lot of resources. So my focus on the last module of community finance is for us to understand that all those capitals need to be utilized, and the resources available within any community, how do we unlock them? that potential within the community and come close together and work on projects for our own community's development. So Islamic finance, Islamic microfinance or microfinance, these are the tools, the methodology, but these could be used in an innovative way as well. So the end goal is not to just get a certificate and maybe just go for a job. I mean, that's me personally saying that. We all need that, but we need to all, if you're taking this course, to think that this is just going to get you a job, I think you need to rethink that the potential something like this holds for you is to open up to many possibilities and create possibilities for others as well. That is my message for this slide. Right, so let's move on. See, I'm stuck again. What do I do?
So, doctor, you can undo this from the same
ribbon. Oh, I have to undo?
You have to undo that, and then you
okay.
Close the annotation. After undo all three of this, you can close the annotation and you can go to the next slide then.
Right. Okay.
You can, yeah.
Perfect. So yes, I think there must be.
Yeah.
So when there are problems and challenges, then there are also solutions available within the community. And this course, especially on the beginner level, I think this is the main purpose behind is to give you another perspective. So you can explore many dimensions of, yes, these are the problems within my community or on a societal level or a global level. But there are also solutions that you can create, we can create together. I think, sorry. So IMFIs, so IMFI means the Islamic Microfinance Institutions. I'm sure you would be familiar with this abbreviation. They have developed and adapted products used by mainstream non-micro Islamic banks for their poor clientele. But this approach does not always suit the needs and financial management strategies of the poor. So in the practitioner level course, we will go into the details and we'll delve deeper into why is this so? Because there could be murabaha, musharaka, mudaraba, all these terminologies and tools are available. The products have been developed by Islamic finance experts, but they don't always work with most communities. And especially if you're dealing with the poor of the poorest of the poor, then they don't work properly as they were imagined to be. So the resources are slim for innovation in Islamic microfinance, but new creative financing solutions are urgently needed, particularly for short-term loans for working capital. So I would urge that for you, this is an opportunity. This is an opportunity for us to together maybe develop something which could serve the purpose in your own particular context, in your community, and innovate and see how that helps you and that can serve purpose to others as well. Now we come to the practitioner level course. So once you've done the beginners level, I would urge you to take up both because it's like a continuation. The beginner is more about, it's more broader in a broader sense, but then you come to the practitioner level and then the scope is just Islamic microfinance and developing your own community funds or solutions, your community banks. I mean, the possibilities are endless. So this is very briefly explained here. What would be in the practitioner level? Again, we will actually go deeper into the maqasid as well, and the historic reference of Islamic microfinance and of community finance in an Islamic context. And then financial inclusion, what does that mean for community mobilization? Because there are many brilliant models available, case studies out in the market that you can study, and we will do that together. And the third one is my favorite one, because as much as I've researched in these, I would introduce you to the idea. I'm sure you're familiar with Karbe Hassan, but how we can utilize that and how that can supplement all the other products that are available. And finally, we will learn how Ahuat managed to hold its grounds for about 20 years now, starting with $100 or 10,000 rupees to now reaching up to over a billion rupees. And they have served more than 4 million families in Pakistan. And so the sustainability aspect of how you can sustain an interest-free loan, or Karde Hassan concept, is so beautiful and interesting, which I would like to explore more with you. Sorry, excuse me. This is the thing about isolation, that you don't talk too much. Okay, so in a very innovative way, I will explain this solution to you, which of course was to eradicate poverty and poverty alleviation, especially in Pakistan, but it could also be utilized as an innovative model which can substitute with other products and community finance models. And what do you get out of it? I mean, I always believe that learning and knowledge, you get knowledge out of knowledge and learning, which is the most, I know it's intangible, but it is the outcome I would desire, that you learn new things, new concept. So learning in itself is a wonderful journey. It's so awe-inspiring. But yes, of course, we look for some tangible outcomes as well. So having the certificate, especially the beginner one, and if you take the bundle and you complete both, then there are chances for you. You would be very well equipped to work with Islamic or even non-banking Islamic finance institutions. You can help them. You can consult them. You can become part of research institutions and organizations. Charity organizations, there is a huge need and demand, especially in the charity sector, for solutions coming from microfinance or maybe interest-free loans as well, Karbe Hassan. You can initiate your own community project and fund, sorry, excuse me. And also you will get access to a lot of content that I will develop for you, which could be used for reference for you. And acknowledgement is you will also get access to Ahuat's network and community, and the certificate will come from them and TAIF and ISRA. ISRA is also part of TCA, which is a global, worldwide research community, having representation in South Africa, Nigeria, Zimbabwe, Jordan. So you become part of our community as well. I think this is it from me.
I have a presentation where I will be discussing the course and then price and the special price for webinar attendees. So we can do it after the Q&A session.
Maybe you can do it now so I can go through the questions.
Sure,
It'll
sure,
give
I
me
can do
some
it.
time. Yeah.
Sure, I'm going to take the presentation. So, Asan, let me know when you can see my screen.
I can see your screen, Fahad, clear?
Okay, okay, it's like the complete presentation, right?
Yes.
Okay. So, we have, as Doctor was mentioning, that we have divided the course into beginner level and then the practitioner level. So if you see the screen on the left side, we have beginners level course. The duration of it will be 8 classes and two practical working group session. So very extensive course. And keep in mind that the course will be conducted on TAIF digital learning platform. You will be able to download mobile app as well, and it's a very flexible course whereby all the first lecture will be live naturally, but all the recording, regardless whether the lecture is live or recorded, all the course material will be available on the app and on the PC, so you can log in and you can take up the course and then you can give the exam. When you are ready, you have 12 months access to the course. So the price is 149. Course start after the doctor finishes beginner level. So we are looking into early May tentative. Practitioner level course will be more extensive, where we will have almost 12 classes and two working session, and then the syllabus we need to build. We will be having some input data points from you all, so we will be further improving the syllabus. Practitioner price is 349. And then if you take the both course, we have a special price for webinar attendees. It's only 399. If you add 149 into 349, it will be 498. But the special price is 399, which is almost $99 off. If you buy it today, tomorrow, day after tomorrow, this is the price. And just for comparison purpose, I could not write the institute's name here, but there are four other institutes which are offering the similar course, just to give, because some of the people have asked me in previous course that what is the rationale of the price. So keep in mind, we are talking about 5 to 6 month course. If you combine both, more than 95 hours of learning, and you will start from zero, and then you will be able to you will be equipped to make your own, for example, Islamic microfinance institution. So that's the beauty of the course. It's very practical. It's there's a success story of Akhuwa that you will be able to learn, and there will be approximately 4 to 5 working group sessions. So institute a price, in the market it starts from 990 to 849, somewhere there. But if you buy a bundle, it's $399. So I will encourage everyone to take benefit. uh, Naturally, the course value is more than $1,000, so I don't want to go there, but we will encourage everyone to take it, especially from Africa, Far East, Europe, where you can, use this model and build your own community. That's very important aspect. So with that, I'm going to stop. Any question you have, you can write us on contact@taif.ae, or you can type it on the chat window and we can take it from there. All the information package will be sent to everybody who have registered on the webinar. So
Okay,
yes,
so
doctor, please go ahead.
yeah, I'm going to take an interesting question, which has now disappeared. Okay, Alish Ali has asked me how to apply Islamic finance in those countries where Islamic finance is not allowed to practice. It's a very interesting and relative question, and this is why in my beginner level, I start with the history of microfinance and not just Islamic microfinance. I think I've also accentuated that it is not about yes, we need to understand the Islamic values first. And my course also focuses on those values. What are the values which we hold universally true? So Islamic or non-Islamic, I think whatever brings welfare and well-being for the community, humankind, is Islamic in itself. So we firstly need to understand these concepts very deeply and also philosophically. I think there is a need to firstly explore what are these values that we talk about, and then I understand there are many courses available out there on Islamic finance and Islamic microfinance. So why would this be different? I mean, this is for you to also find out, but it's going to be different where I'm trying to bring in how can we find solutions in our contemporary world wherever we are living. And yes, many of you who are attending this webinar, I understand, are not in an Islamic country, as I'm not. I'm here in the UK. And I think that paragraph that I shared with you is about you can instill those values in the model you built or wherever you start, or you can start with your own indigenous community, your own group. So you can bring solutions to them as there is a need. I do understand that faith-based models are needed, especially here in the UK as well. Islamic finance is becoming a big need, and Islamic finance institutions are catering to a large number of Muslim clientele who are in need of this kind of service because they, for faith, their own faith purposes. We can discuss all this later on. I mean, I'm happy to have a chat with you. But if my friend Paul Mooney is still here, Paul, can you unmute yourself? Because you've sent me a lot of questions. And one particular one that I really liked was, here he is. So you've written to me about this South African model, stock wealth, created by women. And thank you for sharing this, because this is why I wanted to bring in community finance as well, that the indigenous communities all over the world, all around the world, have always been creating their own solutions. And for women in Bangladesh, it started, Grameen Bank actually started to provide solutions, give loans to women. What else would you like to share this model with us, Paul? Because it would give my audience another perspective as well. And thank you for being here. Really, really honor and appreciate.
Thank you, Anita. I hope you can hear me. I'm dialing in from Brasilia in Brazil, where I'm traveling for a little while. I lived for 12 years in South Africa, and I heard about the stock felt system when I was working with communities down there. And essentially what happens is the women get together every week and they save money together. Save it as cash. It literally sits in shoe boxes and they keep it safe, and they have the power that it's not stolen. That is real power. And then every time one of the women needs something, she comes to the stockfelt, she asks for it, and then she gets it. And then they take turns in getting what they need, and then they pay back what they can every week. And I think it might be similar to the idea of a credit union. And there have been moves recently to make an app, but they much prefer to deal with what they have in their hands. So that was just my little question. And I think, as you say, the role of women. How can women be a meta-indigenous force in this community?
Thank you so much for sharing this. I am working on a workbook that I'm designing nowadays. And in there, I'm featuring a group from Birmingham. I'm sure my friend Shaista would be also listening here. So they've come together and they provide cash to. I mean, they chip in and they give cash to the soup kitchens. They do groceries for them. I mean, there are numberless different models and solutions like these that communities have always thrived on these kind of solutions and come together. So the purpose of us not, for me, to develop a course which just focuses on Islamic microfinance, that is also what I've been saying, that we need to explore. There are many opportunities and we just have to provide solutions rather than just, taking courses and theory. And you rightly said here that where will there be a practicum, because it's your language. For example, will learners be asked to take their own cash and make small loans? Shaista is here. Okay, Shaista, I'll come to you. And this is wonderful. I'm so glad that you've actually asked this question, that it starts from you and me and us, that learners will be asked to take their own cash and make small loans to people to see the movement in practice. Thank you so much for saying this. And I've actually said that it's not about you taking just the course or a certificate and then look for a job. I would actually encourage it if we can bring about solutions like these, like starting something from your own, giving Kadre Hassan. Are you there, Paul? So thank you so much for these very relevant questions. And Shaista is here as well. Shaista, would you like to come unmute yourself and maybe share the solution that...
Thank you. Assalamu alaikum. Glad to see such a great response to Anika's initiative. May Allah bless this and bless each one of us to do something in our lifetimes. So we, about 40 friends got together and we contribute a small amount, only £30 a month, to a fund. We collected for 6 months together. And when we were out and about before COVID, we used to go to the grocery store, actually pick up what the food banks required and go and deposit it there. It almost felt like we were doing something constructive and something physically as well. Once this pandemic hit, though the need is extensive, we tried and increase our contribution, but we are doing just digital transfers to the food banks, as well as there are 3 mosques. All mosques have food banks, but there are 3 big mosques in Birmingham which are running soup kitchens and food banks at a regular basis. The needs are enormous. And this was all inspired by one scholar who said it's well and good to transfer money overseas and help others, but you have your responsibility starts with your community in and around you. And there is loads of poverty in the UK. There's loads of, there's, for various reasons, there are many people who are below the poverty line and struggling and stuff like that. So we need to start. It is one way of doing dawah, but it is also our collective responsibility to help people around us. With what we have been blessed, because all resources belong to Allah. And yes, inshallah, Anika, being such a great researcher and practitioner, will show you and devise ways and explain to you how all this works. And I would, as a lecturer myself, and we've started a new course on accounting and Islamic finance in Birmingham City University, but I would definitely urge you to do this course and to learn practical ways of putting it in action. So thank you, Anika.
Thank you, Shaista. So beautiful. This was beautiful. Thank you. So there are all your questions I've read, and most are relative and also related to...
There's one raised hand, doctor. We can take the question. I know you're running out of time. So there is one person.
Sure. Please.
Jani Muhammad. I will ask to unmute him in case he wants to ask any question.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Thank you, Doctor, for wonderful contribution, for wonderful presentation. It's quite amazing. Please, I have one comment based on the issue of Islamic microfinance, passive or microfinance. In Africa here, or more especially in Nigeria, down here in Nigeria, people find it so strange to go direct to the microfinance institution to seek for a loan or microcredit, the issues related to the credit. And they find it difficult, if they are succeed to go there, they find it difficult to even access the fund. A lot of people are complaining, and some are saying due to operational system, they cannot give out. And, you know, per se, I think in Africa, more especially, the mindset behind the microfinance is to generate the financial inclusion. So how do we address such issues when people are denying the opportunity being given to them, or they are linking this with so sophisticated conditions that somebody may be afraid of even access such fund to even develop the real economy? Per se, real economy, those who are on ground, they are the ones giving out a real economy, because Taylor and other distant artisans. So we find it very difficult actually to get the huge number of financial inclusion, because one of the region, I think if I may recall, last report that was presented by Central Bank of Nigeria shows that northern part of the country, they have 60-something%, 60.2% financially excluded. It means the economy is not working. If somebody do not even take care of that part. And the second question, the second part is a question. I wanted to ask TAIF organizers that how long the registration of this microfinance, because we are interested in this, and how long the registration will last so that we can prepare ourselves for it. Thank you, Doctor, for this wonderful presentation.
Thank you, brother. Thank you so much for your valuable share. And you are so right. I think you have actually covered my whole presentation with your question. So yes, the focus, as I kept on saying, is not just poverty alleviation. It's about how do we mobilize communities? That is the question. That is the challenge as well, as you rightly said. Because people who are in need of finances or loans are not finance literate. That was the reason that Dr. Muhammad Yunus started Grameen Bank. For that, I think it's people like yourself, people like Shaista, people like my friend Paul, myself. We have the duty. So the way it works is that when you start the course, the module on community finance actually will equip you in a way that you can take charge as you could be the catalyst yourself and provide solutions, because yes, there are not many microfinance institution around the world. Then you bring in the Islamic perspective, it becomes difficult. The challenges keep rising every day. This is why I personally do not believe that microfinance can provide solution for poverty eradication. Yes, alleviation, we can all work on that, but there are new challenges every day. Something changes. Look at our world now. Look at the economic crises that communities are in at the moment. So, there would be a new challenge every time. So once we are well equipped and we've understood the concepts and how it could be, you and I can take responsibility and come forward, as my friend Paul has very rightly mentioned, that in practice and in practical terms, how would you utilize this, this knowledge, this certification you'll do? So the community mobilization aspect is very important. And that's what I focused in my presentation as well, that we get stuck with finances and we don't start something. Any community initiative should be started with the community, with dialogue, and see what the need is. And then from there on, there are resources. I mean, in my course, I will share a brilliant model of Komila project, which started in Bangladesh. And that is the whole concept of how you can mobilize your own community. And that is why I'm focusing too much on community and community mobilization. We need to start from there first. And then all the financial principles, the Islamic finance values, and are the products that could be used. So that is my answer to your question. Second one, Fahad can respond back to when the registration is starting.
Yes, so registration is starting now. The link is shared on the chat window, and it will be available on the LinkedIn and Facebook social, and that is type social media. It will be emailed to everyone who have registered. So we have only 30 seats. Registration will close on 31st January, but whenever we fill up the class, we have to restrict it to 30, so we are going to close the enrollment. So I will suggest everyone to try to grab the opportunity and buy the bundle package, which is 0, and then you go up, climb up the ladder to become a certified Islamic microfinance practitioner. So, doctor, do you have 5 minutes? If you
And
can
just
take,
one more, yeah,
yeah,
one more benefit of this
so
course will be, Fahad is saying 30 students for now. We would like to start with 30 because, and you become like a group and you form a community of your own, which would actually help you to learn from each other, because you could be coming from an indigenous community, you're coming from another country. There are different challenges, your problems are different. So we will work as a group. We'll have group sessions as well where we can discuss the issues and the problems or the challenges you're facing and try to find solutions together. That is another benefit of this course.
yes. And for further information, the first class of doctor will be live, where she will be, interacting with the students, and then they will be because we follow the self-paced learning, i.e., flexible hours. So the class will be available on the system, and then you can take the classes, ask question and answer from doctor, and then there will be auto exam on the system, and then you can get certified. So it's flexible hours, self-paced learning. So it's a great benefit. So any other question about course structure? Doctor, do you want to take one question from the Q&A, because there are 18 questions? Do you want to just take one more question from the participants?
I saw a very interesting
Yeah, just one.
question. I can't find it.
So while doctor is doing it again, if you have any questions about enrollment, any
Oh,
confusion,
somebody,
write us on
yeah.
contact@taif.ae. Go ahead, doctor.
Yes, so Ravindra Bhosle asked that what about placement? With the practitioner level, if you take the bundle and you take the practitioner level course, we will also work closely. I mean, I'm working on that, but especially with Ahud's help, they have also global outreach, and we can, I'll come back to you on that, but definitely we can help you with that as well. I mean, not that I'm making false promises, Fahad knows, but who knows what develops when we start the course and working together.
Inshallah, inshallah.
I think this
All
answers,
right.
yeah, inshallah.
Doctor, I believe your time is pretty precious. You must be engaged. So we can say thank you very much for the people. You want to say your closing statement, Doctor?
Yes, I would like to. I'm thrilled. I would like to thank firstly you, Essen and Fahad, for working like tirelessly on all this, all the graphics and everything you've developed. I'm really, really impressed. And this platform, this wonderful platform you've created for our convenience. It's so easy to use everything. So thank you, Fahad and Essen. And then I would like to thank all my participants from all around the world, people who have interacted with me, and thank you for actively participating and being part of this webinar. And I look forward to work closely with you, and inshallah see you soon again.
Khalid, Dr. Khalid, Brother Khalid Hussain is asking, is saying, give me 5 minutes. He wants to ask something.
I think, okay, doctor, if you have time, you can take it. Otherwise, me and Asan, we are available here. So we are going to extend it when doctor leave. We will be staying here, and we will be opening up all the cameras and the mic. So you can ask any question from TAIF if you have any question about TAIF, any question about course, you can ask us. Go ahead, Asan.
All right. Assalamu alaikum, brother Khalid.
Assalamu alaikum warahmatullah. Sorry for the interruption. As I was just wanted to share some data. As I was earlier working on a paper, the stoppage of poverty, as ma'am Dr. Anika earlier discussed about the poverty, how we can eradicate the poverty. I have just collected a data about the poverty. Uh, I just want to read this one para within 2-3 minutes, if you will help
Sure.
me.
Assalamu
Uh,
alaikum. Thank you so much. This would be
uh,
wonderful.
a-
Yeah.
as per official records, about 46.5 million people are living below poverty lines. 925 million people are facing hunger, in which 578 million live in Asia Minor and in Middle East. More than 20% infants are born with a low weight in these countries, and according to the UNICEF report, according to 22,000 children die each day due to poverty, due to hunger. Lack of sanitation and access to clean water, and lack of resources for proper health care. Similarly, infectious diseases due to the deficiency of proper food and malnutrition continues to cause the death of the poor people around the world. The ratio of poor people in sub-Saharan Africa continues to increase from last few years and went up from 205 million to 414 million. Around 1.1 billion people in developing countries don't have access to water and food, and 2.6 billion live in poor conditions, lacking basic sanitation. So this was the data which I have collected for this paper, and I was just wanting to share with everyone because on the topic today is that we discussed it about microfinancing. As ma'am earlier said that on community level we can use this and we can it can help us to eradicate the emerging challenges like poverty. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Khalid. This was precious. Thank you so much for sharing. I do understand where you're coming from, but as I keep on saying, maybe that poverty is not an issue. I understand that developing country, um, third world countries are facing, and developing, as in whatever that term means, we can also unpack that one day. Countries suffer from poverty. I think it's all around us now. Um, and that is my main. Okay, so before I go, it's a question that I would like all of us to contemplate and think about, that how can poverty be eradicated? Could it be eradicated by just providing more products and solutions, or unless you and I and all of us take this challenge as our own personal challenge and as our own purpose on this earth. So there are many phenomena, there are many myths around this that we can unpack together and then come to an understanding. Why is there poverty? I think we need to start asking ourselves this question firstly, like why is there poverty? And even in Islamic countries, if we go by the Islamic finance and Islamic economics maqasid, the first question we need to ask each other and ourselves is, why is there poverty then in our countries? So I leave you with this thought and this question, and I'm sure then that when we meet next time, we
Thank you
can
very much,
all
doctor.
explore.
Thank
Assalamu
you.
alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam. Thank you very much, doctor.
Okay, assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam. Thank you very much, doctor. Have a great day.
Inshallah. Thank you very much once again for joining at TAIF. We are very happy and very glad to have all of you here until the end, listening until now. MashaAllah. We had 437 registration for this webinar. All right. 50% of the people joined, and then definitely due to timing, not everybody can join. So the registrations are open, inshallah. Whoever have attended this webinar will have the option of having 20% discount on the bundle. We'll be welcoming everybody. We'll try to respond as much as possible, accommodate all the queries. So the main idea here is to register first. As long as you're registered, you'll be first there, because if we keep on people coming, inshallah, hopefully everybody have benefited from this session. Thank you very much once again, and assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.